COVID test when coming to Maine. NECN's Dustin Blodkowski has more on how this decision might impact Maine tourism now.
These decisions are made based on what the data tell us, not because of a particular date on the calendar.
With a change in COVID-19 metrics,
The number of new cases adjusted for population over the last 14 days.
Massachusetts visitors are allowed back in Maine without a 14-day quarantine or negative COVID test. The news,
The place that they've arrived at, again, is not a quirk.
somewhat encouraging for Maine's hospitality industry, but
The initial take is that it's late.
Steve Hewen, CEO of Hospitality Maine, a group that represents 1,000 businesses like restaurants in town, believe the quarantine or test requirement deterred a lot of Bay State visitors to Maine, didn't help it into some folks' summer foot traffic, at least initially.
The most recent sales tax figures we have from July, and hotels were down 40% year over year, restaurants were down 30%. August, anecdotally, was reported much better. There were a lot of businesses in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, so they did come and grow.
That said, Massachusetts was Maine's biggest out-of-state visitor market pre-pandemic. As restaurant and hotel owners take a look at their books from summer, the true impact of missing Bay State dollars and cents could become apparent. What was already an abnormal season. Hewen says this decision could sway seasonal business owners to stay open or close.
It's mixed for some people. Some have already closed. Others have already scheduled that they're going to close in the next couple of weeks. Now, whether this will encourage some of those folks to remain open or not, I don't know, because this really did come out of the pandemic.
Hewen's also told us there are plans for an advertising push by Maine tourism groups to bring Massachusetts visitors in. He also said that's important for ski resorts as we approach winter.
Okay.
In Portland, Maine, I'm
No
Dustin
joking.
Blodkowski. The lifting of restrictions on travelers from the Bay State, obviously good news for Maine's restaurant industry, which has taken a pretty big hit since the pandemic started.
But many eateries are worried about staying afloat as these temperatures continue to drop and winter draws closer. News Center Maine's Vivian Lee is live in Portland to tell us more, Viv.
Well, Amanda, more than a dozen Portland restaurants have temporarily closed or shut their doors for good. Now, restaurants that have made it up to this point, thanks to outdoor dining, as you can see behind me, are trying to come up with creative ways to get them through the winter safely. Like many restaurants, Little Giant only offered curbside pickup for weeks until being allowed to reopen in June. Federal loans, participating in Cooking for Unity, and a demand for al fresco dining helped the restaurant bounce back this summer.
Not everybody has the benefit of having a nice sunny corner like we did that allowed us to be active for 6 to 8 weeks.
Malin didn't expand to indoor dining because of COVID concerns. As cold temperatures set in, customers are dropping off despite setting up butane heat lamps.
Encouraging people to bring blankets and bundle up a little bit because we can get to November 1st.
At DeMillo's restaurant in the Old Port, sales are down 50% compared to last year. PPE funding helped this business bring back nearly 3/4 of its employees. Owner Steve DeMillo says restrictions on travelers from Massachusetts were tough.
Losing them for the summer was, pretty devastating to our sales. But we're happy that they're coming back.
The floating restaurant is offering indoor and outdoor seating on its lounge deck. There are plexiglass separators at the bar. Natural gas heaters and plastic coverings are being used to help keep diners who still prefer to eat outdoors toasty.
Well, I'm planning to bring a lap robe or a blanket and try it out.
Also looming, streets that were closed or used to expand outdoor seating for restaurants will reopen to traffic November 1st. Malin, in the meantime, may reconfigure an outdoor courtyard to use for customers through the winter and possibly hold catered events indoors for limited groups to survive until next year.
One table, one pod, one group of people who are familiar with each other.
Now, Hospitality Maine is lobbying the state to allow restaurants to expand their indoor seating from 50 people right now per space to 50% of their occupancy with 6-foot distancing. And this afternoon, CDC Director Dr. Nirav Shah said that they're studying to propose policy change and that finding a balance between the businesses and customers and staff, of course, is key. We'll have more on that coming up at 6 o'clock. Reporting live from Portland's Old Port, I'm News Center Maine's Vivian Lee. Back to you.
Hey, I like that, Mom. Nice to see.
through
No,
our
that was just
history,
Sissy and I.
this year will be no different.
In Maine, more than 233,000 voters have requested their absentee ballot. That's an increase of more than 42,000 from last week. Secretary of State Matt
What's this here?
Dunlap estimates that as many as 600,000 people will vote by absentee this November. State officials have encouraged Mainers to vote absentee due to health risks during the pandemic.
There is a lot on the ballot this year to make it easier for you to understand who and what
I
you
made
are
that.
voting on and for. We have
And I'm gonna
compiled
get money sent.
a list to help you feel confident in your voice and vote this fall. All you have to do is text the word guide to that number right there, 207-828-6622. You'll get a link to our article on how to register, deadlines, requesting your absentee ballot, so much more. It feels like we've seen this all year. People going through extreme
I have my own
time
birthday
during the
Christmas.
pandemic. But what happens when you go too far? Now we got next on News Center at 5:30. We're going to hear from a man who took his quarantine activity to an unhealthy level.
Plus, Shannon Moss brings us to a Maine landmark where a surprising discovery, hey, made that scientists date back to the Ice Age. What did they uncover? Find out tonight at 6.
Kate Newell's home burned down. She got out safely with just the clothes on her back and her pets. Firefighters, though, were able to salvage 2 of her favorite things, her instruments. Right there at the fire scene, she started playing the fiddle.
She is always there with music playing at every event. She's just very generous.
Everyone stepped up and donated money to help her get back on her feet.
Oh my gosh, I'm speechless.
So here's the question. When was the last time a government takeover in Maine was a good idea? Take your time. We'll wait.
Putting her full support behind Brett Kavanaugh, Susan Collins cast a decided vote for Donald Trump's Supreme Court pick, since he believed Kavanaugh would protect a woman's right to choose. Collins was rewarded with hundreds of thousands of dollars from backers of right-wing anti-choice judges. Kavanaugh, whose chance he got, he voted to roll back women's rights. Susan Collins, Maine just can't trust her anymore. SIP's responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's Ford Truck Month, and if this is your kind of day, and this is your kind of truck, then this is your month. Ford Truck Month. Now, get great deals on Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 43 years. During Truck Month, lease F-150 for just $189 a month, or buy with up to $11,220 total savings on select F-150 XLTs.
The burning of our cities and looting of small businesses is an outrage. There are extreme liberals who want to defund the police, and Jared Golden sides with them. Golden and Washington liberals voted to restrict funding for police, cut funds to fight drug traffickers, and support dangerous sanctuary cities.
I'm Dale Krabs. In Congress, I'll fight for our neighborhoods and our families. I approve this message because I'll support our police always.
Still thinking? Well, listen to this. Some politicians want government to take over Maine's power grid. A huge government expansion would cost you billions. Learn more at MainePowerFacts.com.
Ready? A Maine adventure.
You're watching News Center Maine. Contact us with your news tip or story idea.
Governor Mills says Maine's school systems will receive another $164 million in federal coronavirus relief to help with school and health safety protocols. The money will be distributed to districts using a weighted formula developed by the Maine Department of Education and school superintendents. The funds are in addition to that $165 million package given to schools earlier this year. The first round of funding was used primarily for facility and technology upgrades needed to safely return students to schools. Now, the Maine CDC says trends here in Maine and
Oh, by the way,
nationwide
Sissy,
show
you have
that more
until
younger people have been contracting COVID-19.
Yeah, Maine's
October
Dr. Neeraj Shah says those
14th
people can then
this
easily
year
spread the virus to older friends
to buy that
and
shirt.
family. And he says the
Chop,
numerous
chop.
outbreaks in North County serve as a reminder about the risks of community transmission.
when it comes to outbreaks, when it comes to infectious diseases, none of us is an island. No city is an island, no town is an island, no school is an island, no county is an island. This is a great opportunity to remind everybody that if you have not been out there wearing a face covering and maintaining physical distance, now is a time to do so.
And Dr. Shaw says there is an ever-shrinking window for getting a lid on the outbreaks in York County before exponential growth happens. The stress of the pandemic is driving many of us to extreme.
Extreme stress, extreme eating, in some cases extreme exercise. Haley Hernandez reports.
Empty grocery store shelves, quarantine 15 jokes, being encouraged to go out and exercise. These are part of our daily lives right now, and yet these innocent comments can trigger people with eating disorders to restrict themselves beyond what's healthy. In Rich Beckwith's case, it wasn't just restricting food, but prioritizing workouts to a point it made him sick.
I actually got diagnosed with an eating disorder. I've had stage 2 kidney failure, stage 2 liver failure, and my heart was shrinking and tilting more to the side.
Susie, what's a good name for my store? For my merch store?
I would have had a massive heart attack within a month, and I wouldn't be alive.
This was
Just
Rich
Avros.
before he was trying to deal with anxiety through exercise.
Running, compulsively running more, lifting weights. You know, it just took off from there.
And took off to a point he was unrecognizable. But since
Yes.
exercise is a healthy hobby, he justified it and pushed harder.
4 miles a day, then it turned to 8 miles, then it turned to almost 15 and a half twice a week. And I was only eating at that time 2,000 calories because I was so scared to gain weight again.
Now he says he's constantly working on balance. He's even a nutritionist and works with an eating recovery program, but admits the pandemic, where everyone is focused on staying healthy, is hard for him, and he's learned he's not alone.
As a male, it took me 8 years to get treatment. It took my wife, my family, everybody to say, hey, you need help because you're not doing what is healthy. Seek help, seek it, because you can get better and you don't want to suffer.
We're going to squeeze in a quick break here, but don't go anywhere. Your full forecast is deep. This is 5 minutes away. And next on News Center Maine 5:30.
I'm News Center Maine's Zach Blanchard. The latest drought report shows that conditions across the state are worsening, and that means the fire risk here is getting worse too. I'll have everything you need to know.
News Center Maine is sponsored in part by U.S. Cellular. Upgrade to fair.
It's a costly ride with Sarah Gideon. It begins in Freeport. As town councilor, Gideon voted to raise property taxes, but her family business was repeatedly late paying their own. Next up, Augusta, where she tried to raise taxes on food, gasoline.
Susie, now I have a store.
And now Gideon
It's just Ave-Rose / So it's bonfire / store / Ave-Rose /
I'm Sarah Gideon, and I approve this message.
What?
Susan Collins and Sarah Gideon are
Good.
the only
Okay.
ballot. So is he, Mitch McConnell, because who Maine elects will determine who controls the Senate. Susan Collins proudly